You're listening to Parasearch Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
It's Monday evening, and you're listening to Joe and Gemma on the Supernaturelle show.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of the Supernaturelle show. I hope everybody's been all right. It's been an exciting week over here. Tonight, I am actually very, very honoured to be speaking to the lovely Dave Harazny from Entering the Unknown Paranormal. Now, for those of you who are unaware, Dave actually put on a charity on Friday night at Warwick Castle. So, without further ado, let's get Dave in. Hi, Dave.
Hiya. You okay?
How you doing?
Just recovering.
Have you recovered
busy
yet?
Weekend. Just recovering.
Have you recovered yet? Are you fighting fit again?
Getting there, yeah.
Don't you find the older you get, the harder it is to recover?
Yes. Don't tell them how old I am now.
21 plus VAT, love, same as me.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
So, Dave, Friday night's event, it was for the British Heart Foundation.
Yep.
Okay, so I know I've spoken to you before about how the whole thing come about, but just in case there's anybody listening that is unaware, why did you decide the British Heart Foundation?
I promised my niece, whose dad, my brother, died of a sudden heart attack 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I promised that I'd do a fundraising for her on behalf of the British Heart Foundation. Last year we did it for Alzheimer's Society. Mm-hmm. And last year I promised that I'd definitely do one for her this year, which I did.
That must be so hard though, Dave.
It wasn't so hard for me, but I think it was harder for Carla because she's still not got over it yet. So it's still pretty raw with her. And she's done a lot of fundraising for the British Heart Foundation in Cheshire.
Yeah, because she actually fundraises quite a bit as well, doesn't she, in all fairness?
Yeah, she does. She works hard for them.
So, Dave, how much did you raise for that one event?
For the event on Friday night, we raised £1,000, and then we had another £100 donated on the Saturday. Which took it to awesome. 1,100.
That is awesome.
So yeah, I was very pleased about it, and we couldn't have done it without the guests, the public, all the celebs that helped out on the night. It was just fantastic, and my team worked the socks off.
Your team, I mean, give them a shout out, Dave.
Yeah, I'll give them a shout out. Sarah, Lee, Rocky, Sean, Mandy, and our team medium, Andy Jones. We all worked our socks off. Yeah, it was quite warm as well. So
it was very warm, without a doubt. It was roasting on Friday, and for me to say that it was warm, that's saying something because I never say I'm warm on an investigation. But yeah, Friday night. I mean, as I've said, Dave, I said it to you personally, and I put it on social media. Your team worked their absolute socks off, getting ready for that event, and during the whole event, they are an absolute credit to you.
Yeah, I love them. They're the best team I've had, I think. You know, and they've really, like I said, they really worked hard. I know Sean was supposed to come out for this Saturday night, and he couldn't come out because he hurt his back. Mm-hmm. Going up and down the stairs. So Sarah was the same. She hurt her back, and they were both struggling by the end of the night, and it didn't help, like I said, with the heat, because even the rooms were warm as well.
And the stairs and the uneven flooring.
Yeah. And outside being warm, so.
Yeah, so Friday night, let's discuss Friday night. So everybody turned up. It was great.
It's fantastic.
Okay, so you welcomed everybody in. So talk me through. I know it sounds a bit weird because I was there, so I'm saying talk me through what happened. You probably sat there thinking, well, you already know, you was there. But
I can't remember what happened after the night because it went so quick. I couldn't believe it. I mean, we got there in the daytime. We also got there about 3:30. We had a tour around the castle by one of the staff, which took us into all the rooms, which are absolutely outstanding. They're breathtaking. And but as soon as the event came, it just flew. It's just 1 minute it was getting on for 9:30, and we were a bit late starting because of what the security and that was and that was going on. I'm not gonna say much more about that.
Well, I've got to say this bit because it was hilarious, to say the least. So you're already there, Dave. You're just unloading the car, and then I come strolling along. And the security guard says to me, "Excuse me, how did you get in?" So I was thinking, is this a bit of a trick question? Have you got to go through like a questionnaire before you're allowed access to the building? So I was like, through the gate? And he said, but how did you get through the gate? So, as you know, Dave, my reply was, I pushed it and walked.
Yeah, and it opened.
It's like magic, right? So I was feeling very confused already because, I'm being asked how I opened the gate. Well, the same way I always do. Give it a gentle push and away you go. I honestly thought it was a trick question. So that was like the highlight of the very beginning of the night for me, because that's not a question that you get asked on every investigation, is it?
No.
So then you go to the gate, you meet all the guests and your celebrity guests that you had come in, and you had to escort them down. So you get to the base room, you give a brief reason you give your brief explanation of why the event's taking place and why the British Heart Foundation was your chosen charity for that event. And then you make all the guests, not the guests, your star guests, celebrities, whatever, you make all them stand up and just introduce themselves. Was that just so that everybody could get to grips with who they were?
Yeah, I think everyone needed to put a face to their names, because some of them might have not know who they are, but I'm pretty sure that 99.9% of the people that were there did know who they were. But it's nice to get them to come up and for them to come up and speak and say, introduce themselves. I'm so and so, and I work with whatever team they work with, and what they've done. So they all got to know like what they did.
Yeah. So who did you have there?
We had 2/3 of UK Haunted, which was Mickey York and Alex Duggan.
Yeah.
We had Carl Hutchinson, that was a replacement at the last minute, because Ashley Buckingham couldn't make it for personal reasons. Yourself, MJ Dixon, Gary Fields, and my own team medium, which was Andy Jones. We split up into two teams, and we all went in different parts of the building, the castle and that, and into different rooms.
Yeah. So you and Andy went with MJ.
We went with MJ first, yeah.
Yeah. And was Gary Fields with you at that point?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And Andy. Yeah. You're Andy. Right, okay. So what happened on your first vigil?
We were getting, the public were getting different experiences. My niece was getting cold down the right side. And so was a friend next to us feeling a lot of cold. And so was MJ, that was opposite them as well. She was getting a bit of a cold draft. Gary was coming out with some names. I can't remember off what we were, because at this point in time, I took a step back on that night, and I soaked in how the other paranormal investigators work.
Yeah.
So I sort of like stood in the background and listened to it all, and then, I took in how they go about doing their things and investigating, which gave me an eye opener as well. To be perfectly honest,
what do you mean by that, though?
Public. Yeah, I just stayed in the background.
Yeah, but what do you mean by it gave you an eye opener?
It just gave me a few more ways of working when I'm out on my own investigations with my own team.
Yeah. The
way they worked, the way they introduced themselves, and the way they spoke to spirits. Like MJ said, she doesn't class them as spirits. You just class them as normal people that are in the room and come and talk. Yeah, come and enjoy yourself. Come and have a chat and have a bit of fun. And then we saw Mickey and Alex, how they do their thing with the experiments they have and devices they have sometimes when they take stuff with them. And it was, I just enjoyed it myself. I was just part of the public that night.
I don't blame you, though. You'd put so much work into it. You deserved a break.
Yeah.
So you where did you guys go first?
We went into one of the bedrooms. Don't ask me which bedroom it is.
It was the Alistair Crowley bedroom, wasn't it? But it's not actually called that. No,
it's called something else, isn't it? And I know MJ wanted to do that for a personal reason as well, because she's had experiences in there before. And they tried different experiments, and some worked and some didn't. It's
so what experiments was you trying in there?
She was using the SB7, and then she was working with Gary, and Gary's coming up with some things as well. They had the normal flashing balls on the floor. And she had another lady with her that was, I think she was American. And she had a lot of knowledge about the history of the castle. So she was...
That was Laurie, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, like I said, the night went so quick I didn't get a chance to talk to anyone. I didn't even get a chance to talk to the public. I usually like to go around and just say, hi, you enjoying yourself? Mm-hmm. How do you think the experiments are going? Are you picking anything up? But... like I said, Gary was working with my niece, and he had her standing up and doing all different experiments. Can you, if there's a spirit there, can you push her forward? When she did go forward a few times, and he mentioned something about something that she had a dream or something, and then she came back about a few minutes later and said, "Yeah, I had that dream the night that someone attacked me," which was, I think that took her aback as well, because she didn't expect Gary to pick anything up like that. So I think she's a bit scared about this sort of thing with mediums anyway. And she kept saying to Gary, "Stay away from me! Don't come near me! Don't come near me! I want to know."
Yeah, I remember her saying now actually that she was intimidated by Gary. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, like I said, we did when I was up there, because to be perfectly honest, we got lost, me and Rocky.
Yeah,
we were trying to get the mic working on the camera, because, as you know, we were filming that night. Yeah. And for some reason, they all worked on the Thursday night, but come to set it up and get it going Friday night, what happens? They won't work. So there's me and Rocky fiddling about in the base room trying to get his mic to work. And then I said to him, "Right, I've got it working now. We better go." And we're wandering about outside in the courtyard, thinking, "Where have they gone? Which door do we go in?" Because, like he said, the security bloke kept saying, "Don't touch that door, the alarm will go off.
Yeah.
You'll be thrown off site." Right, okay.
No, he said you'd be invited to leave.
Yeah. So we were walking around. I think Gary come out of one door, and I said, "Gary, where are you with MJ?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What door did you come out of?" He said, "You know?" I said, "I can't remember." So we were wandering around with Gary for about another 10 minutes, trying to find a door to go through, the right door. And then we eventually we got upstairs, and I was stood in the hallway for a while, because it was nice and cool in there, because I was just baking. Sweat was pouring off me. And other people saying, "Well, I'm cold," and I'm feeling cold, and I'm saying, "Well, I'm sweating here." Yeah. And then me and Andy had a door slam downstairs. So we both ran down to try and see if there was anyone there, and we couldn't find anyone around. So this door slammed, and we went running past the Great Hall, on the upper levels, to try and find where this door had banged, and we couldn't find anyone about.
I think I know which door you mean, because I was with Alex and Mickey.
Yeah.
And Carl. And we kept hearing a door bang as well.
Yeah.
And every time we went and had a look, we couldn't find the door.
Yeah.
So I think we actually experienced that too. Right. So yeah, back to your first vigil. So you was in the corridor, you kept hearing the door, so you went off hunting for it.
Yeah, we went off running, looking to try and find if there's somebody there that, like, because it got lost and then gone back out again. But we couldn't find anyone. And there was a knock in that bedroom as well, in one corner where no one was stood. That was behind the mannequins. because I think there's 2 mannequins in that room where we were sat with MJ.
Yeah.
And a bang, there was a little bang in the corner, and it was opposite to where everybody was. So it was not done by anyone from the public or an investigator or anything.
Yeah.
But we heard a bang in the corner,
and you didn't find out where it had come from.
We no, because it just sounded like somebody knocked on the panel and the wood.
Yeah.
And it never happened again after that. But it wasn't like a creaking noise or when the wood's
so it wasn't wood settling or anything. It was
no. We couldn't debunk that.
Well, that's good. That's what we're there for, isn't it?
Yeah. But by the time I got on there, and we've done a few experiments when we were talking next, trying to get the interaction from the spirits and that, it was 11:10.
Yeah.
Blimey, where's the time gone? Because we were supposed to have had a break at 10:30.
Yeah. We did exactly the same. So for the first vigil, myself, Mickey, Alex, Carl, Ashley, I'm trying to remember everybody that was in the team with me. I had Sean and Sarah.
Yeah.
And Lee.
Yeah.
Vicky, Chloe, Karen and Eddie, Mother, yeah, and a couple of others. I'm rubbish with names at the best of times anyway, Dave, as you know. So we all went off and we started off in the Kingfisher area.
Yeah.
Now, the Kingfisher area is quite big. It is just like a little warren of rooms coming off rooms, coming off rooms. And I think you can actually get out into the Great Hall by going through Kingfisher. Yeah. But the door was locked off, so we was trapped. So it was one way in, one way out system sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So we went down there. We ended up in one of the rooms in the Kingfisher. And before we'd even started, Alex was setting up his table, for his human spirit box.
Yeah.
He was setting up his table. Alex was doing that. Mickey was filming. Carl was getting his equipment out. And we was just stood around, just generally talking. Alex and Mickey was explaining about the human spirit box and what was going to happen. And we heard a door bang. So I think it was Ashley went running out to go find where it was coming from, come back. He was like, not a clue, can't find anything. There's nobody around. And then Carl heard a knocking from behind us, but there was nobody stood behind us. Right. And I questioned whether or not it could be backdraft because I was just shutting the door as Carl heard it. So we recreated me closing the door. But the guys that heard the bang said it definitely wasn't that.
Right.
So then we started doing some just general calling out. Just trying to build up a little bit of energy and set the tone for the night, if you will. So we was doing that for a while. We wasn't really getting that much response from calling out. So then we moved on to the human spirit box. Now, if you've not seen it in action, as I'm saying it, you're going to think I'm crazy. But it's a radio that's hooked up to a copper pipe. I sound crazy, right? Alex and Mickey explain it so much better because
it's a square. It's a square copper pipe, isn't it?
It is a square copper pipe, yes, Dave. And I like the way you had to be very careful about how you were saying that.
Yeah, that slipped out.
It did indeed. But no, there's a lot more to it. I mean, copper is meant to induce energy. There's a lot more to it than how I'm making it sound. I'm doing UK Haunted. No, what's the word I'm after? I'm not doing it any favours trying to explain their device, but I'm pretty sure if asked, Alex and Mickey will explain it properly. So we started with that. We started doing that, and that was interesting actually because I didn't see it when they did their last live with Really TV because I was actually out with you that night, Dave.
Yeah, I missed it as well.
Yeah, so I missed it. So it was really interesting to see it. And you can actually hear the change in the radio frequencies as you're putting your hands on the copper pipe, which is fascinating. A few of the guests said that they heard names being said through the device. I didn't, but then I was off with Chloe because we'd heard a noise, so we went off to find out what the noise was that we'd heard. I came back to being told that a name or two names had come through. So that was amazing. And then after that, it quietened down a little bit. So at that point, we decided to go for our first break as well. And I think we'd literally just got to the base room just as you turned up. So what was supposed to be just an hour was a lot longer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So we all refueled on caffeine. Let's face it, everybody needs to be doing that on an investigation. So the second vigil, where did you go at that point?
We went back. We changed. We all swapped over, didn't we? We went with Alex and Mickey and Carl down into dungeons. Yeah, into the dungeon, and you were with us anyway, because MJ went back upstairs to the bedroom again, and she went with Gary. I think that was it. And then the rest of us just went down the dungeons, didn't we?
We did.
There, doing a Ouija board.
Yeah. So we was in the old jail, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as you say, some of the guests wanted to do a Ouija board, so they were set up to complete that. While they was doing that, myself, Alex, Mickey was filming, wasn't he, at that point? Yeah. And you, Dave, was asking. We kept asking the guys on the Ouija board what was happening and what was being said, etc.
Yeah.
And we kept referring to Andy as well, because Andy had joined us.
Yeah.
Just to see, because with Andy being a medium, he's going to be picking up on stuff that we're not. So who better to ask what's going on than a medium, right? So Andy was coming out with little bits of information, wasn't he? He said that there was 3 main characters down there, but one that was stronger than the rest.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. The guys on the Ouija board, they was getting so much come through, wasn't they?
They were, yeah. Actually, they were, yeah.
And it was instant. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have never seen a Ouija board session take off like that one did. They'd barely even put the fingers on it, and it was gone. Spelling out names and giving out so much information.
Yeah.
Great, wonderful. And then I was actually speaking to one of the people down there with us, and they said to me, how do you know if somebody is faking a Ouija board? Now, general question, right? Because we all, at some point, will have questioned whether or not the information coming through on a Ouija board is legit. Everybody's questioned it. It's human form, isn't it, to question things? So I said to her, well, I'll show you one of my favourite tricks. So I put a halt to the Ouija board and said, I've got an idea. Why don't we all just turn our fingers upside down? So the guys that were on the Ouija board complied, turned the fingers upside down. So the person that I was speaking to said, well, what difference does that make? So I said, imagine you've got your finger on a piece of wood and you're trying to push it, but your finger's the other way round. It's not gripping. So all that's going to happen is your finger's just going to slide.
Yeah.
The other way that I've used, not always to see if somebody's faking it, and I will just put that out there now because people aren't always intentionally pushing a planchette on a Ouija board. Sometimes it is your subconscious taking over.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it paranormal. No. It means it's your subconscious.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, who am I or who is anybody to say to somebody, but that's not correct?
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, I don't like using Ouija boards. I think 9 out of 10 times you don't get no response out of it anyway.
And is that the only reason why you don't like using Ouija boards?
Yeah. They just don't work for me.
You see, I'm perfectly honest, Dave. I'm not backwards at going forwards. You know I'm not. And I don't like using Ouija boards for the simple reason they are far too easy to fake.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's what public like on investigations.
Of course it is.
It's the Ouija board, it's the table tipping, it's a human pendulum, it's...
exactly. And who are we to take anything away from anybody?
Yeah.
If they're happy with that, then I'm not going to say to somebody, well, technically that's not right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil somebody's belief system. That's not what I'm there for. And especially not on a public event.
Yeah.
For those people that was asking me questions about what I believed and how can you tell if something is 100% legit, I answered honestly. If people want to learn and progress within the paranormal, then they're entitled to have their opinions
of course.
and ask questions. Now, I like that. I like that the guests were looking outside of the box and questioning things.
Yeah.
That for me, that was really, really interesting, because a lot of people just buy into ghost hunter. We go out, we hear a bang, it's a ghost, we scream.
Yeah. When
in actual fact, that's not how it happens. So for guests, because you don't often come across it either on a public event.
No.
For guests to be questioning and people asking questions about what other options it could be, that is amazing.
Yeah.
The Ouija board session happened. I actually had to leave. Well, I didn't have to leave, but I left the cellar because we heard a bang again. Do you remember, Dave?
Yeah, we had the door bang again.
Yeah, there was an almighty crash. So I went running up the stairs because there was me and Sarah, wasn't there? We was right next to the gate to the stairwell. So I went running up. Lee was up the top of the stairs because he had heard a noise just before us. So we'd gone to the top of the stairs to see if he could see anything. So there was me and Lee upstairs, and we was looking out, walking around, just having a look to see if there was anybody around. And there was not one soul anywhere near us. Nowhere to be seen. So we stayed up top just to see if we could hear that noise again while you guys carried on downstairs. Yeah. So while we was out, what was happening in the... I keep wanting to call it a cellar, but it's not a cellar. It was the old jail, wasn't it?
Yeah. It would have been nice to do a bit more stuff in there, but the Ouija board was carrying on. I think it went on for quite a while. So if something goes on for too long, I think some people start getting bored and they want to move on to something else.
I know. While I was down there.
Yeah. So gradually people were coming up the stairs and coming out. And.
I know me and Alex said we both wanted to do like a reenactment while we was down there. So we wanted to get everybody, because people would have been tethered up to the walls by chains. Yeah. You can see the holes in the walls where the chains will have been. And there's an oubliette, isn't there, down there as well. So those poor people that was just shoved down there would have been left while there was other people chained to the walls. So I know me and Alex said that we really wanted to do like a reenactment. Just to see.
We could have chained you up, couldn't we?
Well, it's poor Mickey that usually gets that pleasure, isn't it? Let's be realistic. But we did say we wanted to do that. We wanted to do the reenactment just to see if it would spike any activity at all. But we didn't actually get round to doing that because, like I say, I went off anyway, hearing this unknown door banging that I still don't know what it is, which is really irritating.
Somebody said it's the automatic doors, but automatic doors wouldn't have done that unless somebody stood there for them to open. Because one part of the building had automatic doors, didn't it, where the doors opened on their own. And someone said it could have been that, but
then, like you say, surely an automatic door works off a sensor.
Yeah.
So you would have need those sensors to be triggered for those doors to open.
Yeah.
But do automatic doors bang shut, or do they shut
do they?
quietly?
Yeah. I mean,
So
we
that's
had to go for that door just to get to the bedrooms, and we never had banged behind doors when we went through it.
Oh, is the automatic door the one that goes to the library?
Yeah.
And then up to Alistair Crowley room?
Mm.
Is that door automatic?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I didn't know that. I was holding it open for people to walk past. Now I feel really stupid. Only me would hold a door that's automatic, right? So, but that just proves the point though, Dave. I didn't know it was automatic, and I didn't hear it bang either.
No.
So slightly.
Well, like I said, once we come out of that, out the jail part, out the pit part, whatever it was, the night had gone again really quick.
Yeah, because by that time it was gone 1.
Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't gone 1, it was coming up to 1, because I remember saying, we've got an hour left.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. So we stopped to another break. Your Carla, bless her heart, did the raffle at that point, because there was a raffle on as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, it went on for a really long time as well. Yeah.
Well, I think there was more prizes there than you anticipated, Dave, wasn't there?
There was loads. You know, we could have gone for 3 hours doing the prizes.
Well, I did question whether or not, we'd be there till like 9 o'clock, just pulling the raffle, in all fairness.
Yeah. It was, by the time that I finished, it was getting on for 1:30, wasn't it? So we only had half an hour left.
Well, to be honest, me, Ashley, Alex, and a few guests had already disappeared off, because we went to do a live EVP burst session down in the old jail with the oubliette. Yeah. And we literally put the mic down there and did an EVP session. So that was cool. I mean, it's been a while since I've worked with Alex and Mickey anyway. I've not worked with them for a very, very long time. So that was really, really nice to be with those guys on that Friday night. So we did an EVP session, and we didn't actually pick up anything. But other people kept coming down. So there was little points where we thought we could see a difference in the pattern.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe that's that. But because there was people coming down the stairs as well, it was overriding all the other sounds that were being picked up. So that was a bit of a shame. But hey-ho, this is what happens, isn't it, on a public event? You can't plan them. You can't particularly structure a public event, because you never know what's going to happen. So that was cool. So what did you do in the last half an hour, 45 minutes?
We went to the Mirror Maze with a couple of guests.
Yeah.
I think Carla came with us and a partner and her 2 friends. We went in the Mirror Maze. We didn't really get much in there. There wasn't much going on. So we went into the other part where I think it's a Kingmaker, is it?
Okay, yeah. That Mirror Maze was hilarious. Actually,
I know.
Dave, I don't think we can skim over that.
Mirror.
I don't think we can skim over that without giving little Mickey a mention. Bless his heart. Me and Ashley had just come up from the jail, and we was talking to Carl, just about where everybody else was, and Carl had said that Mickey had just gone into the Mirror Maze. So Mickey then comes out and he says, "I've just followed a group of people in there. They've vanished." I was like, "Mickey, how can people just vanish?" And he was like, "Seriously, I just followed a group of people in there and I can't find them." So it was like, "Oh, come on then, let's go and have a look." So off we popped, going in the Mirror Maze, which is so difficult in the dark to negotiate yourself around. It's hard enough with lights on, isn't it, in a Mirror Maze? Let's be realistic. But turn all the lights out, pitch black.
The tip we got off the security: follow the mirrors, because they've all got fingerprints all over them. And if you find all the fingerprints, you know you're going the right way. It says put a lit torch at the main door when you go through it, so you know where you're going back to. But even on that, when we were going back, we went round to the right and ended up bumping into that witch thing.
Yeah, that witch thing was freaky, wasn't it?
We've gone the wrong way now. We've gone the wrong way because there's the witch.
Yeah, that witch thing really was freaky. Well, off we went in trying to locate this group of people that had gone into the mirror maze. So there was me, Ashley, and Mickey. Well, I swear to God, like, Ashley's just crazy anyway. He just popped off through, and it was just me and Mickey left. And I was like, Mickey, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, I look like something out of Kung Fu Panda. The movements that I was doing, I was arms and legs everywhere, just trying to negotiate my way around this maze. Well, Mickey was howling, I was howling. Ashley come back and he was like, what are you two doing? And he's like, lead the way, Batman. So he leads the way, and then we get to the end and he finds this magic door. And he was like, this is awesome. There's a magic door. And then we find this group of people. So it was like, Mickey, you're not actually going mad. You did follow a group of people. But then Mickey didn't know who was in there. And he'd disappeared. So it looked like me and Ashley had gone completely off our head by talking to an invisible Mickey that wasn't even there. I was like, I don't believe this. So comedy value, just that mirror maze alone was hilarious. So we find you all in there, and you're just doing a general calling out, just trying to raise a bit of energy.
After we came out there, 'cause we didn't get much in there. We came out there, we went into the Kingmaker room, and you went right to where they judge people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And we were sat in there, and Andy came up with a young lad that had used to work there at the stables when the stables used to be there. And he said he's a crafty thing, and he liked to skive off work, and he was coming through with all that. And he said he had a sister that worked there as well. And but that's basically what we got there. We didn't get anything else. Didn't get any knocks or anything. No, we called out, but we didn't get anything.
Did you not?
No.
Okay. Well, I found Gary in there at one point. Gary had a group of people, and he was doing his transmediumship.
Yeah.
Now, that was really interesting because, bless them, I think I gave everybody that was in there a heart attack. I did apologise. But you know what it's like, negotiating your way around with stairs, uneven flooring, door frames that just appear from nowhere. So I was just walking around looking to see what everybody was up to, and was walking down to the Kingfisher, and I heard this beep, and instantly I knew exactly what I'd done. And I looked down, and I see these motion sensors. Now, the motion sensor then started going absolutely wild, and I could hear people charging towards me. And I was like, I am so sorry, everybody. It's me. I've tripped your motion sensor. But what was really interesting about that is that at the bottom of the stairs was a REM pod. Now, the REM pod was going off before I'd even triggered the motion sensor, but I was nowhere near it. So it definitely wasn't me that set that off. So that was interesting. So I get down into the bottom of the Kingfisher area where Gary's doing his transmediumship, and one of the guests, I can't remember her name because I am rubbish with names, but one of the guests was, do you call it under trance? Mm-hmm. Or in trance?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So she was in trance, and I walked in, and instantly she looked at me and she went, "Don't like you. Get out." And I was like, oh, it sounds a bit like Bill from The Conjuring. I had no idea what was going on, so I did feel a bit rude, to be fair, because I'd interrupted and obviously changed the flow of whatever was happening. So then I just sat down because I thought I can't just get up and walk out now because that's even worse. Mm-hmm. So I was observing that. Now, I've done transmediumship before with Gary, and it's weird. It was so weird when I did it, because I did it at Hat Green, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And I'd never experienced anything like it. So to see somebody else going through that was really, really interesting for me. So I just sat and watched.
Experience for you to see what somebody else went through it. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've not really seen it before. I'd never done it before until Hat Green. So it was really interesting to watch. And the lady afterwards basically said she had no recognition of what she was saying or doing. She just felt really hot. But I can relate to that because when I did trance with Gary, I went really hot because I remember you giving all your jokes about Gemma stripping.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that, and it was phenomenal, like the stuff that she was coming out with, and the way Gary evokes the spirit to, what does he call it? Entwine? Blend or entwine. I can't remember how he words it, but to come into that person's aura and to watch it was absolutely fascinating. They had other little bits of equipment scattered around the room, so there was a K2, an EMF, meter. I think there was flashy balls on the floor. But other than the trans side of things, I don't think there was getting an awful lot down there. So then after that, I got about a bit that night, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, here, there and everywhere. And then I went to the Aleister Crowley room. And I think MJ was in there. Yes, she was. MJ was in there. And I think she was doing a spirit box session.
She likes that room because she seemed to stay in that room most of the night, you know.
Yeah. That room, though, I mean, in all fairness, the whole building is absolutely stunning.
We after the guests had gone, because we stayed for another couple of hours. I mean, the guests didn't go.
No, I went.
Too, did they?
I went. Yeah, I left at 20-3, and because I had two guests with me and Ashley, didn't I? So I left. With the guests.
After that we went back up as a team. We went into the bedroom on the right before you get to the Aleister Crowley room, and it was where the lady in black was sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror, and we put the handheld REM pad on the floor, and I was asking questions of the lady here, and it spiked straight away. And I just said, "Is it the lady that sat at the desk at the table?" And it didn't go off. And I said, "Are you a different lady that comes around this building?" And it went off again on cancer in it. And then I asked her age. I said, "Are you below 40? Didn't go off. I said, "Are you over 40? It spiked and went off again, right to red." And I was just asking different questions where the spirit was replying to it via the handheld REM pod. And Sean was filming it. He said, "I can't believe how it's spiked. It's gone from the green to the blue to the orange and up to the red." And it did it a few times, and then it just seemed to calm down, anticipate. And actually, Andy came in. He says, "There is a woman stood at the window." So he backed that up, and he wasn't there when the REM pod thing was going off. He came in late, about 5 minutes after it had finished.
Really?
And he just said, I said, "Are you picking anything up here?" And I just come in. I said, "But are you picking up anything in here?" And he said, "There's a lady stood at the window."
Wow.
I said, "Right." Well,
did he describe her, or did he give any names or anything?
He didn't know. He was more. I think he was more drawn to the chapel.
Yeah.
For some reason, he kept saying, "I want to go to the chapel. I want to go to the chapel." So we eventually found the chapel because all the doors were shut, and we would then open the door.
Yeah, I knew, because at the very start of the night, the security guards had said to us, if a door's shut, pretty much don't open it, because you'll set the whole alarms off for the whole building, and then everybody will be invited to leave. So we was all now usually if I come across a door, I will try it regardless. If it opens, it means I can go in it. If it doesn't open, it means I can't.
You touch it.
Yes, exactly. It's like a big red button. For me, if somebody says, "Do not touch that," I'm just going to touch it, right? So you can imagine how much on my best behaviour I was that night to to find a door and not even try it because the door's shut, so that means we can't go through there, right?
Mm.
So I was so good. I behaved the whole night.
Yeah.
I think I need a special mention just for that.
Round of applause for Gemma. Yeah. Anyway, we all went into the chapel. I think the whole team went in of our team.
But we didn't even find the chapel when we was looking round because all the doors were shut.
Yeah. And we couldn't remember where it was, so Sarah just said, "Oh, I think it's in here." And she just opened the door. She said, "Yeah, it's here." So we went in the chapel, and Andy sat in one of the pews, and he says, "I'm picking up a man and a woman that's got married here, but they shouldn't have got married. They weren't allowed to get married." So he picked up on them, and then he said, I picked up on a gentleman that's killed someone as well." So we were in there for a minute. And Gary turned up, and Gary whispered in my ear what he'd picked up there beforehand on a different occasion. And Andy was coming out with the same stuff.
Really?
Yeah, that Gary had picked up. So he was helping. Gary was helping Andy through it by saying, "Well, what have you found next, and what's happening next?" And then Andy just stood up and said, "I've got to get out of here." So we ended the night there. He just wanted to get out the whole place.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not like Andy.
He was quite aggressive as well. He said, I'm going out of here, going.
But Andy's usually very placid, isn't he?
Yeah.
That he doesn't usually respond like that. So that's really interesting.
Mm.
Oh, such a shame I didn't see that. I'd have been quizzing him all over for that one.
Yeah. But I asked him when he was outside, I said, what was it, spirit? And he just said, I just want to get out of here.
Oh.
So it was, I think something had probably threatened him in some way and he didn't like it.
Mm. Well, that's understandable. Nobody likes to be threatened, do they?
I have to say, everyone did brilliant on the night. All the other celebs, Mickey, Alex, Carl, you.
I'm not a celeb, love. We've had this conversation.
Andy, Gary. I mean, I can't fault anyone. The guests, the public were absolutely brilliant.
There was an amazing atmosphere, but I think it helps as well that it was all for charity because, as much as we all love going out investigating and meeting new people, the fact that we're doing it for a good cause as well. Yeah. So we're paying it back, if you will. We're putting back some good energy out there, which is always good, isn't it?
And every single penny out the ticket sales has gone to the charity. Yeah. We have taken nothing to that. We've made an absolutely big loss on this. Mm-hmm. Out of my pockets and out of the team's pockets, because I have to take money out of the team account as well. Yeah. To pay for it. We've made just a big loss on this, and we didn't do it to make money. We did it to make money for the charities. Put it that way.
But not for yourselves.
To put on our own pockets.
Yeah.
No, because I don't believe anything like that. If it's done for charity, it's done for charity, and that's it. At the end of the day.
Exactly.
We made £117 on the raffle, which is another big bonus.
Wow.
So it was. I just like to thank everyone that came, and I hope you all had a good night.
Well, from myself and from the general public as well, we would like to actually thank you and your team, Dave, for actually putting that together. It's not very often that people in the paranormal field get together like that.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to actually all work together and see old friends that we've not seen in a while. And like you say, experience how other people work. That is really, really good. And like you say, the public, they loved it. I've not heard one person say a bad thing about the event. So that's, again, that is an absolute bonus, isn't it? And for, like you say, 1,100 raised for the British Art Foundation. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I just want to thank MJ because she did sell quite a lot of tickets for us. Now I thank her so much for that. Because in the build-ups, you're always worrying that if people are going to come, are they going to turn up? Do they want to spend that amount of money? Because we try and keep our events to the lowest cost as we can.
But £45 per person, Dave, is cheap for Warwick Castle.
Yeah, and I can't thank the people enough. It's just been... It's slow waking up to it and then get to it. It actually just flies by, and you think, where's it all gone? Because you feel like you want to be there for another few hours.
It just went so quick from beginning to end.
Believe it.
You blinked and we missed it.
Yeah.
And poor Carl, his poor ankle, because he'd injured his ankle as well previous.
Yes, I know. I heard him say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd injured his ankle previous to the event. And then during the event, because I said to him at one point, how's your ankle, Carl? Knowing that he'd hurt his ankle. Is it his ankle or his foot? Anyway, bless him. I said to him, how are you doing? And he was like, it's killing. But not once did he show that he was in pain in front of anybody. No. It's like I would have been crying in a corner if that was me, but it just carried on regardless. Do you know what I mean? True professionalism right there.
He's such a trooper as well, because like I said, I asked him at the very last minute.
Yeah.
He could have turned around and said, no, I can't make it, it's too short notice. But he pulled everything out of the bag. He was to come straight from work to get to that event on Friday night. And hats off to him. He's a charming bloke. I mean, I was just dumbstruck by, because I was trying to speak to Alex and Mickey and everybody else and MJ, and I said, what do I say to him? Because you think of him as people, with people, because they're very well known, every one of them, and you just think, well, what do I say to him? How do I approach him? How do I talk about the paranormal to him? And I spoke to most of them, and it's great.
But everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, Dave, in their own area.
Yeah. And
so strike up a conversation. I'm not being funny, but you could strike up a conversation with anybody. Nobody in the paranormal field knows any more or any less than anybody else.
Yeah.
It is every day is a learning day when it comes to the paranormal field, and I don't care what anybody says. There is no experts. We are all on our own little journeys, just doing our own thing. Some people are more well known than others. Fair play. But that's down to how you put yourself out there as a person, isn't it? So don't ever, that's and not just you, Dave, anybody listening, never be intimidated or think, how on earth do I speak to these people? Don't do it. Just speak to them. Just go up and say, all right, love.
Yeah. I just want to, right, come on, you got to sort of go and sign that poster now. Come on, out there.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for the right way.
Yeah, I think you have to, though, Dave, don't you? So it was an amazing success, and just thank you, Dave. Thank you for being you, is all I'm going to say. What's next for Entering the Unknown?
I'm just a normal person on the street.
You might just be a normal person on the street, Dave, but you've just raised £1,100 for the British Art Foundation, so we salute you, sir.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Dave Harazny, everyone.
Getting all embarrassed now. And
the team. No, well, it's not just you, is it? Like you say, Dave, it's a team thing. And your team... It's a team
effort by everyone, including the public. I mean, like I said, it can't be done if there's no one there.
No, very true.
At the end of the day, it's down to the public, and if they want to come to the event and enjoy it.
Exactly.
And like I said, I think they all did. None of them moaned.
No. So we are coming to the end of the show, Dave. So what is coming up for Entering the Unknown as a team?
We've got a spin-off series coming. It'll be coming out next year, which is Entering the Unknown, Urban Exploring.
Yeah.
So we're doing all abandoned places and derelict places and things like that. Season 3 should be coming out on Amazon Prime, hopefully end of this year.
I believe I make a cameo on that one, don't I?
Yes, you do. You and Jolene. Yeah. I think your cameo's better than Jolene's, though.
Oh, God, what am I doing? That's because Joe would have been professional. I'd have been like, what you doing?
Yours is at Green.
Oh, is it? Oh, God. This will be the strip-a-thon, will it, Dave?
Yeah. That'll probably be a sold-out episode, that.
Oh, honestly, you can't take me nowhere.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get new locations, what people haven't done before, and that's why we're keeping a lot of it off Facebook at the moment, because we want to try and explore new locations that no one's done, because a lot of locations seem to be overdone nowadays.
Yeah, I agree.
And lots of teams are filming the same location over and over again. All right, they might get the activity, but it's like everywhere. You can overdo it.
Yeah,
You can only watch it. You can only watch it, but with so many teams, so many times.
Yeah, before you get bored. Anyway.
Yeah.
So season 3, you've got a spin-off series.
Yeah.
You're looking for new locations that are quite unheard of.
Yes. Yeah.
What about team-wise? Have you got any special functions coming up or anything?
We've got an event this weekend at the Northwich Plaza.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've been to that one, have you?
No, I've never been there.
We always get a lot of activity there. Our devices always drain the batteries always get drained in the devices, in the torches, in the cameras. You get lots of headaches there, and everything else that comes with the paranormal. Dizziness, swaying back and two. Yeah, it'd be eye-opening because Andy's not done it before, so I'm looking forward to see what he picks up, because I know some of the history already. Yeah, and I'm sure Sarah will pick up some more of the history because she's our new historian now.
And doing an amazing job.
She loves that. She loves doing that. She absolutely loves it. And I just think we'll go on to bigger and better things, I hope.
Like you say, your team's gone under a bit of a transformation of late.
Yeah. But I think we've got a good team in the making now.
Yes, definitely.
We all got them together. There's no jealousy. There's no falling out. There's no I'm better than you and this, that, and the other. So yeah, we just get on like an house on fire.
Well, I'm sure I can speak for everybody else that has met your team when I say that they are a great, great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy coming out with you guys, Dave, as you know.
Yeah, of course you do. And we always like having a laugh, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
It's not about being serious all the time. It's about having a laugh and
But laughter is one of the best forms of energy that you can put out there anyway.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. And
why have something and not use it?
Yeah, that's correct. It's not all about being serious and...
if you get in absolutely no activity whatsoever, at that point, if you can bring a bit of humour into it and make people laugh, possibly build up the energy, then to me, that is the most important thing, especially when it comes to public events. If your guests can go away at the end of the night and say, well, there wasn't an awful lot in way of activity, but do you know what? I had an amazing night and it was such a laugh. Yeah. Then that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course it is, yeah. It is.
Customer service the whole way.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the public. It's there. They pay to come and have a good time, and hopefully the spirits work with us. If they don't, then...
Exactly, they're not performing monkeys.
But I just want to say loads of love for everyone that came that night. And I just want to thank all the celebs again. That's you, MJ Dixon, Mickey York, Alex Duggan, Carl Hutchinson, Gary Fields, and our very own Andy Jones, and my own team, because they work their socks off, and I can't fault them. And I just want to thank the public for everyone coming. Love and respect to everyone that came, and thanks for raising this money for us.
Oh, Dave, I'm feeling the love tonight.
Good cause.
Yeah, it was an amazing cause. And on that note, Dave, we are right at the very end of the show. So thank you so much for A, Friday night having me, and B, joining me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And for everybody listening, if you miss any shows here on Parasearch, head on over to YouTube and Spreaker, where you can find every episode ever aired. And as Kerry would say, do not forget to click like, share and subscribe. And from me, it is good night, everybody. Say good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.